Hello. All right, today we're going to talk about budgeting. I know it's a tough topic, but I'm going to try to break it down into uh, two options that you can use. There's many other options. I'm going to go over a third option. It's really not an option, it's just something you should do. But budgeting, so I asked the question, what did you learn from budgeting? Hope you had a chance to think about it. Me personally, when I first started budgeting, I would change the rules all the time. I wouldn't let it marinate for a couple of months or even a year. And my wife would say, let it work, let the system work. So I'm going to tell you about a system that I've been working for maybe since 2020. So maybe about 6 years now, 6 or 7 years. And it's called the 50/30/20 plan. And at the end of this, I'm going to tell you how you can go about creating your budget. So the 50/30/20 plan, talked about this before. Elizabeth Warren, the senator, her daughter created the 50/30/20 plan. And basically what it is a percentage based allocation. So you budget 50% for needs, 30% for wants, 20% for savings or debt. How you allocate that is your net income. So what you get, what you actually receive in your bank account, not the gross. And you do your percentages based on that. Now, the challenging part is a lot of us, including myself, spends more than 50% on needs. So then you allocate it based on the percentages, based on what you have right now, right? You can't, unless you move or reduce your needs, you may not fall in the 50%. So you just reallocate that money, 60%, 70%, and then you allocate your wants and your savings based on that. So that's the percentages, and it's easy to follow. Percentages are easy. It's for beginners, which I was, and I still use this plan because it's a simple structure. The other option is zero-based budget. Now, this is for someone that wants full control. Now, I use the 50/30/20 plan, but I also use zero-based budget. Let me explain why. In this particular budget, every dollar is assigned a task or a role. So when we talked about the 50/30/20 plan, we said we based it on needs, based it on wants, based it on savings. Well, in this particular zero-based budget process, every dollar you receive from your net paycheck, you're giving it a task to either save, to either spend on needs or wants. So you basically allocate it based on how you see fit. So without the framework of the 50/30/20 plan, you take your net pay and you allocate it based on those three different categories. Because basically that's what it is, right? You basically need something, you basically want something, and you basically want to save. Uh, and then there's a third option. Remember, I talked about the third option, and this option is pay yourself first. So I do this as well, and you do it probably as well if you have a 401k, a retirement plan, or any kind of saving strategy where when you receive your pay, a certain amount of it comes out for investing for your future. If that is the case, then you're paying yourself first. Congratulations. If you're not paying yourself first, what that particular process is all about is when you receive your paycheck or the day after, you put some of that money into savings, some of that money into investing in your 401k, and your 403b, and your Roth IRA, which I recommend, or in high yield savings, right? That's the other option. Or your brick and mortar bank, the big commercial banks for saving. So that are the two options: the 50/30/20 plan, the zero-based budget plan, and then pay yourself first. To me, it's not really a strategy, it's just something you do. It's not a budget strategy, but I guess it could be. So those are the different methods. What I wanted to share with you was a simple starter plan for creating a budget. So for those that do not have a budget, listen up. So you want to list your monthly income, like I talked about. If you get paid bi-weekly, then most likely you get two paychecks a month. Figure out what that net pay is, not the gross pay, the net pay. Your gross pay could be a higher number. Your net pay is much less. And then after, with that net pay, if you have retirement deductions coming out of your paycheck, then the net pay will reflect that, right? So you want to list your monthly income. You want to track your expenses for at least 30 days. I say 60 days because, when you look at your credit card statements or however you're paying for things, you want to look at those statements to figure out what your bills are. And that's how you track your expenses, and you write them down. Choose a budgeting method, like I told you before. So 50-30-20 plan or zero-based budget plan, pay yourself first. You want to do all of those things. Set one goal, right? You want to save maybe $100 a month or pay off some debt. Try to do that. And then review this budget or this spending plan weekly. I typically review mine on Fridays. I spend 5 to 10 minutes doing so. You can do the same. All right. All right. Reach out to me if you have any questions. All right. I'm going to hit you with a Bible verse, right? So this is regarding planning. So this is Proverbs 15, verse 22. Plans fail for lack of counsel, but with many advisors, they succeed. All right. Thank you. Have a good day.